When you go to the cemetery,
they were buried with their dreams.
They were buried with their dreams. Think about when you go there, how many dreams and goals and inventions and ideas that we could be using today that we'll never get a chance to see because somebody was too tired or didn't have time or had to focus on someone else. Do not let that be your story.
Welcome back to another episode of Women of Tomorrow. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Women of Tomorrow is a platform dedicated to women positioning themselves for longevity and success. So if you like what you see here, please do me a favor, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Dr. Barnes.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Where are you coming from? You look so cute.
I'm coming from an event. I was just honored at an event by Media Girls Network.
Oh, yeah.
So super excited about that.
Who owns that?
Jaleesa Raquel.
Jaleesa.
Amazing. Shout out to Jaleesa, Media Girls Network. She would be a dope person to bring on the show as well.
Yeah, I got to reach out to her.
For sure.
Diego's not up here. Okay,
Yep.
Cool. So I want to get right into it. Again, thank you so much for coming.
For sure.
You are an inspiration to so many. I chatted about you with my friend Chastity. She's a publicist in New York, and she had nothing but good things to say about you.
I love that. I love good things.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Coatesville, so I'm outside of Philadelphia. So I grew up between Coatesville and Philadelphia. And then I lived in Virginia for 14 years.
Okay.
And I'm back home now.
Wait, where do you live now?
Outside of Philadelphia. Back home.
So you don't even live in Atlanta?
No, I'm in Atlanta like every other week. So I'm actually looking for a place out here now because it's like, girl.
So do you feel like this could be
this is
the
home.
new home? Okay.
Well, it is home. This is literally my home. I feel like I have more resources here than I do home.
Okay.
Because at home I'm just there. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
So my daughter, she's 4. So I'm more in like mom, personal life at home.
Got it.
Atlanta is like work. Everything's here. My clients are here. My hairdresser's here. My makeup artist is here. My esthetician is here.
You're here more than you're in Philly.
I'm here, literally.
So how did you grow up? Like, who raised you?
My grandmother raised me.
Why did I think that? I don't know
Really?
why. I don't know why, because I know that there's so many different dynamics with, how people are raised and how they're able to get to where they are. And I just feel like you've accomplished so much. I'm like, there must have been someone really wise,
oh my gosh,
like guiding you.
My grandmother raised me. I love my grandmother. I literally owe everything to her, and I know that I'll never be able to repay her. But she instilled so many different gems, so many different things in me as a young woman that I understand now as an adult that I didn't understand as a child. Even me now being a mother myself, it's just the small things like having please and thank you and looking everybody in the eye when you're speaking and not going outside with pajamas on and not wearing a bonnet or a scarf out the house or treating the janitor with the same respect that you would treat the CEO and not being able to sleep at everybody's house. Because when I was younger, that was the thing. I'm like, can I stay at my girlfriend's house? Or can I? She's like, girl, stop asking me to stay at people's house. You're not doing it. And now as a mom, I get it. I overstand. My daughter, no. They could come over here all day, but you're not staying at nobody's house.
Yeah, I was like that too as a child. Like it was not really sleepovers. Couldn't really go out.
Girl, no. Go downstairs and play.
Yeah. So being raised by your grandmother at the time, did it seem normal that you were raised by your grandmother? Like
It did, because I had everything that like a 2-parent household had.
Okay.
So I never lacked anything. I never needed anything. I was always very spoiled.
Okay.
But I think that came from me also being a good child. I was spoiled, but I made really good grades in school. I had good manners. I wasn't like a grown little girl.
Okay.
And I was very active growing up. Like I did ballet, tap, jazz.
Oh, wow.
I ran track. I played tennis, played the violin. I was on swim team, editor-in-chief of the yearbook, honors. I was
overachiever.
Very much active in everything. And my grandmother actually was the director of recreational services for the VA hospital for 42 years. So every Wednesday and Saturday when I didn't have dance class, I would volunteer at the VA with the veterans. So I was voluntold before I could actually volunteer.
Oh, what does that mean?
I was told, girl, you coming with me. I didn't have a choice. I was voluntold before I could actually volunteer. But the older I got, I realized the importance of charitable work and philanthropy and giving back your time and just helping people. So that was something that was instilled in me as a child at a very, very young age.
So being so active, like I remember growing up, my mother, she had me I did a few things, piano, tennis, cheerleading a little bit, but I always stopped whenever things got a little challenging, and my mother never made me continue. And sometimes I wish she had of, because there's like a muscle memory of learning how to push through even when things are maybe challenging or they get boring and things like that.
It's so funny you say that, like the piano. So when I was in elementary school, I played the violin, right? I'm gonna tell y'all something. It's so funny. I always laugh at it now. I played the violin, but I never could read music. Like I just couldn't read music. It was just something that was so foreign to me. So whenever we would have like our
You were just going with the vibe?
Whenever we would have our like spring concerts or Christmas concerts, how they have the concerts, like everybody's on stage. I'm on stage playing the violin. I don't know nothing that's going on. I couldn't read the music, but you would have never known. I just went with the flow.
Possible?
Girl, we just up there. I'm up
That's
there
black
picking
people
it up.
for you.
We gonna improvise all day.
You're gonna know.
And I think it was something that I never learned because I never took the time to ask for help. And I think that's the biggest thing too, transitioning as an adult. When you don't know how to do something, ask for help. A lot of times we're so prideful into thinking that when you ask for help, that it's something wrong with asking for help.
Yeah.
So we'll rather go into a situation not knowing how to do something without asking for help. And I think that memory as a little girl translates with me today in the work that I do or just in general. Is if you're in a space of something and you don't know what to do or you don't know how to navigate, there's always somebody out there that can help you.
Yeah.
Just ask for help.
Afraid to ask
Literally
those
just
questions.
ask for help.
I definitely as a child was afraid to raise my hand. Didn't want to have a stupid question.
Literally.
And no, that's the only way you learn.
That's it.
From being able to ask.
But I just think that's so funny.
Yeah, no, that's definitely funny. You just with
Girl,
the vibes and the violin.
The vibes.
So what is your professional title? I know that you have transitioned and pivoted quite a bit. What is your professional title?
So I'm a publicist, so I work on public relations and partnerships, branding deal partnerships. But I also am the founder of Evals Equity, which is a women fund. I'm so proud of the work that we're doing at Evals. And it's a 501c3. And our goal is to raise capital for female minority businesses.
Yes.
2024, I'm so dedicated to really putting in the groundwork for Evals because I know that there are women that look like you and me that are like pushing for me to see that through. And then also this year I recently created a national holiday.
I saw that.
So September 30th is National Black Funding Day. We celebrated it this year. This was the first year. Thank you so much. We celebrated this year, the first year. And the whole premise for creating National Black Funding Day is to really just highlight the inequalities and disparities that Black and brown entrepreneurs face when we're trying to access capital for our businesses. Because a lot of times people talk about, well, the businesses aren't set up properly and X, Y, and Z. And even when the businesses are structured properly, there's still structures, there's still barriers, there's still racism, there's still so many biases that we go through that people that don't look like you and me go through with application processes, with approval processes. It's like they put us through things that are almost unrealistic for us to obtain capital for our businesses. And the more and more I get invited to these spaces and I get in these rooms and I'm dealing with people and I'm having conversations with people who are single-handedly responsible for $260 million $260 billion portfolios. And we're just trying to raise $1 million of capital. We're just trying to raise $5 million of capital. We're playing so small. So I really just want the work that we do at National Black Funding Day and Evals to just really transcend and really take over when we look at capital accessibility for Black and brown entrepreneurs.
That is so amazing because me having a media tech company and being a woman-founded company, it is a challenge. Me coming from the music industry, I didn't want to go the VC route, and so our company is still self-funded.
I was going to ask you, have you done any like seed funding or any?
We did, when we first launched in 2021, we thought it would be cool to do equity crowdfunding.
Okay.
So we went the route of Start Engine. We had a friend of ours had a lot of success. The two friends of ours had a lot of success, and they were like, "Oh, let's try it," because we felt like, okay, it wasn't the VC route. It was founder friendly. It was a founder friendly platform, and we felt like we had nothing to lose. It wasn't necessarily the best outcome for us, but we learned so much. But it was really important for us to maintain as much equity as we could in our company until we felt like we had more leverage. So that's really why we went that route. I didn't want to go the VC route because to me it felt like the same as having a bad deal in the music industry. Based on like how you're saying, like we play small, they play us small, and we are not getting what we deserve. It's always just like so many companies of people that are non-Black, non-brown are funded simply by ideas. You don't even have to have a product.
Baby, Johnny will go into the bank and say, hey, I have an idea, no business plan,
Nothing.
No numbers. They give Johnny $2 million. You can go to the same bank with 3 years of, streams and viewership, events, and they're like, maybe next time. And that is exactly why.
That's what I was going to say. What?
That's why Eval's Equity and National Black Funding Day was funded. And not even, and I'm going to give y'all a little exclusive.
Yes.
We are actually working on a 2-day funding festival called Wealthtopia.
Yes.
Wealthtopia, my goal for Wealthtopia is for it to be the largest financial literacy on-the-spot funding summit that exists.
Wow, on-the-spot funding?
On the spot. So we want to do it September of 2024.
Okay.
And unlike a lot of summits or festivals or things that people go to, we want Wealthtopia to be very practical.
Okay.
Meaning, you pay X amount of dollars for a ticket. When you get there, there's someone there to help you with branding. There's someone there to help you. Like a lot of times when people go to these festivals, they pay all this money and you walk away motivated, right? Mm-hmm. But motivation is not going to help me stream my business. Yeah. Motivation is not going to pay my bills.
Absolutely.
You might have a keynote speaker that's very, very influential, but whoever that person is, when they leave the event, they're going back to their business. They're a multimillionaire. They're a billionaire. So for me, when I created Wealthtopia, I'm a research person. So when I do things, I don't do things based off of, ideas. I do think based off of trends. What does the data say?
Okay.
What does the research say? So for me, looking at those things, people go to these events, they don't have no headshots. So at Wealthtopia, we want to have a content creators room where you come in, you can get headshots done. So when you leave the event, you have headshots. We want to have somebody there that offers legal advice, because that's another issue that we have.
Yeah.
People start businesses, they don't know when and how to pay their taxes. Should I pay my taxes yearly? Should I be paying my taxes quarterly? We want to have someone there that can do like on-the-spot branding. You have a business, but you don't have a logo, or your logo needs to be updated. You can do all those things there. Wow. We can help you with a business plan on the spot. Almost like a home ownership like situation where you go to places, you have like 3 months of banking statements. We want to have different lenders on spot where we can give you access to a certain amount of capital on the spot, as well as still the summit feel where you have the vendors, you have the panels, but we want to make it practical. We want it to be more intimate, where when people leave, if they paid however much for a ticket, I don't want you to look at your ticket as a ticket. I want you to look at it as an investment, because you're investing in yourself. So when you leave, you'll have a business plan, you'll have an updated logo, you'll have, headshots, and you'll be able to directly go into that Monday or whatever it is for work and really, really get to work for your business.
Yeah, because you've helped them to
it's
really
nothing like
build
it.
a foundation.
Doesn't exist.
It does not exist. Even with like me, when I started having mentors from Georgia Tech and stuff like that, they still kind of want you to know, even when you come in, it's intimidating, right? Yeah. It's like, I don't know enough to ask the right questions. So for you to do the research and say, hey, I know what you guys need. I know what you guys don't have. We're going to do this to even get you here to even be able to pitch.
Even with starting a business, like, should I have an LLC? Should I be a 501c3? Should I be a sole proprietor? Am I doing DBA? Should I be the registered agent? Should you be the registered agent? Should I hire? Like, it's so many things that we think are quote unquote common sense that is not common. And I think that's the biggest misconception, is that we have to stop putting our own biases and our own personal, knowledge on people to assume that they know, because they don't. But that's why we have Wealthtopia. I'm excited about Wealthtopia. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun.
That's a beautiful
even
thing.
with something like this, we would love to have you guys come and do. We could do this on the spot.
Yeah.
We could do this. We could have you. It's so much room for growth. This is going to be the first year, but I know that God is using me as the vessel to carry out this idea. So I'm just excited to see where it goes. And we're working with some big, I can't really say, but we're working with some big partners and people. People are interested, and I know that we're going to do amazing things.
No, it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
We're claiming it right now.
My goal for it to be, I want it to be so large that because right now we're going to just do it in the fall of every year, but I want it to be so large that we can't access the demand for it to just be in the fall, so we have to do it in the fall, and we have to do it in the spring.
Yeah. So you mentioned God. You're being the vessel that God has brought forth. How much of God is a part of the decisions you make and how you navigate?
My God. Very, very, very important. My spirituality is everything. And I think the biggest thing for me moving in this season and transitioning and understanding that I have to heighten my discernment in this season, because your brand is growing. And when your brand grows, you grow as well. And you have to understand that as much as we want to take everyone with us, everyone cannot go with us. And saying that everyone can't go doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we on the train and the train got 15 stops. Some people have to get off at that stop for a reason.
And you have to
Everybody
let them go.
can't go to the final destination. And I think another thing is we have to realize that a reason we can't get to our final destination is because we're trying to take people with us. The moment that you let those things go, things elevate freely.
Okay. And you make it sound so simple to be able to let people go that have been around. I was listening to a live earlier, and it was just like, people often feel like they're obligated. So say, me and you were cool for 10 years and you were there for me and I had a low moment, and now, I'm leveling up and you're not growing. And I decide that I can't get to where my vision is because you're not growing, and I'm trying to hold on to you, and then I feel obligated because she was there for me when I needed her, but she's no longer, you know what I'm saying? It's just not working.
It's like a unnecessary tool in the toolbox. Like, we use the same tools every day, but this one is just in the back collecting dust. So what is the point of it being there if I'm not using it? It's like you have to purge your closet. Those clothes that you're no longer wearing, you should get rid of, right?
What does the purge look like in a when you're having that heart to heart, or even with yourself, when that discernment comes up and you realize this person really can't be here?
It's very difficult. I'm not saying that it's easy. It's difficult, but would you rather sit in that difficulty and be stagnant with yourself, or would you rather say, you know what, I know? Because the biggest thing is we know. It's not like we don't know.
We're trying to act like we know.
We know when something no longer is serving us, and we continue to pour into things that no longer serve us. It's like I'm at a party and I have let's say I got a glass of wine, right? I pour everybody's glass of wine before mine, and then when it's time for me to have something to drink, the bottle is empty. So now we have to pour your glass of wine first, sit it to the side, and then whatever is left in that bottle, you can serve everyone else. But see, we don't do that. We serve everybody else before we serve ourselves, and then we wonder why we're drained and we're tired and we can't do X, Y, and Z. If it's not serving us, then it can't go.
And that's just that discernment.
That's just what it is.
You think that's a Black woman thing? You think it's a woman thing? You think it's a feminine energy thing of just wanting to nurture and wanting to?
I think the nurture thing is definitely a Black woman thing, because we are just we're just naturally nurturers. We're just naturally problem solvers.
Yeah.
And we're so quick to take on problems and solve other people's problems when we have problems of our own that haven't even been solved.
Yeah.
It's like we have to understand that when our plate is full, it's full, and we don't do that. And then we understand. Then we wonder why we're drained.
Yeah.
And we're tired, and we can't. That's like when we were supposed to film the podcast the other day.
Yeah.
I got here, and I got literally the day before I was working for 24 hours, had some stuff to do with my daughter, take my car to the car dealership, go back to my daughter's school, ship off this. I had like 4 Zooms, didn't go to sleep, made it to the airport. Flight was at 4 a.m., got to Atlanta by like 9, had to go to the offices to pick up product for an event. And I think I had a hair appointment at 1:30, and I got to my room by 12. I said, you know what? The salon that I go to is right down the street. I'm going to sleep for an hour. Girl, I woke up at 4 o'clock.
Your body needed it.
Missed my hair appointment, missed my makeup appointment. I felt so bad. And that's when I reached out. But I said, you know what? When I called my grandmother, she was like, no matter how much you want to push forward, when you're tired, you're tired. And your body is like, girl, you need to sit down. So I think as Black women, we always we even volunteer to help people with things, knowing we got our own stuff to take care of. It's like, girl, you got 30 things on your own list.
Yeah.
And you still trying to help TT get ready for her free hair giveaway on Saturdays. Like, girl, can't do it. But that's us.
But you did what you needed
Absolutely.
to do for yourself so that you could even show up here and be your best.
And I think for us, we need to start, Black women in general, start understanding that self-care is not selfish. And understanding that, going to the spa, getting a massage, getting a facial, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, that is not a luxury. That is a necessity.
That's a necessity, for sure.
And we have to start understanding that and pouring into ourselves and, taking care of ourselves and working out and drinking our water. Like you know what I mean?
It's
really
not just an aesthetic
It's not
either.
an aesthetic. It's not an aesthetic. We really have to take care of ourselves. We have to understand we're about to be in 2024, which means that the pandemic happened 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Time waits for no one. Do you understand that 4 years went by that fast? And people are still doing the same thing that we're doing 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by elevating and leaving things in the past, because we have to be able to transition and move forward.
I really love that. That's a powerful statement, just about the discernment and being able to let things go. And you also talking about entrepreneurs and people not necessarily having all the answers or knowing what to do next. How much of that is being accountable for not knowing and not doing? Like you're providing a opportunity to get people ahead, but people have to meet you there, right? People have to know what they're missing, know that they need to do better to even show up to a place like that.
Yeah, the biggest thing is really know what you want to do. I think that's the biggest thing, because I feel like social media is so many different outlets and so many different things, and everybody's like, one day they want to be a hairstylist, the next day they want to do nails, the next day you want to be, it's like, you can do multiple things in one niche and really master that thing. So like, if you worked for the IRS for however many years and you are a tax professional, that means you have expertise in taxes, which means you could create your own tax software. You could create your own tax ebook. You could provide tax services for people. You can go out and, it's just so many different things you could do and leverage yourself in that one niche. But I think once people start thinking like that, the really thing is just about transitioning yourself, your brain, to understand that you can do whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
It sounds so cliche, but we go back to the Black woman thing. I think the biggest thing for us as well as Black women is I always have to be strong. Yeah. We don't always want to be strong.
Absolutely not.
Sometimes I want to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to be the girl boss. Sometimes I don't want to be hustler of the year.
Yeah.
But if I don't want to be hustler of the year.
Right.
Give it to somebody else this year. I will nominate somebody else. I don't want to be hustler of the year. I don't.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't have any choice. So when you don't have a choice and your back is against the wall, it's very, very important to surround yourself with good friends, good family, and good people that you can be vulnerable around and understand that I'm vulnerable with you, and I'm vulnerable with you because I trust you. So I trust you to say that what we're talking about is between us, because that's another thing too. A lot of people don't have a strong support system. Support is everything.
Yeah.
I went to one of my clients, Pretty V, she hosted the Revolt Summit in September, and Pastor Mike from Alabama was one of the, he did like a service on that Sunday, and it was so amazing. I literally was standing there and I broke down. I literally, I'm at work, in work mode. I broke down crying because he said something that stood out to me. He said, sometimes you don't always want to be the strong one.
Yeah.
But when you don't have no choice but to be the strong one, who's going to be strong for you? because, you know, I have a 4-year-old and, you know, I am a girl boss and I'm doing all these different things. And I know that a lot of what I'm doing, a lot of people that don't even know I exist is praying for me to see this through. But sometimes we have to take that time for ourselves to be like, sis, not today. It's okay. Like that media
It'll
pitch,
still be here.
That pitch can wait. That outlet not going nowhere.
Yeah.
That opportunity is not going anywhere. And if it does, it's not for you. We can figure out, we can circle the block, we can come back with something else. But just knowing, like, I think in 2024 and just beyond, like just giving ourselves a little bit more grace.
Yeah, absolutely.
And giving ourselves a pat on the back for what we've accomplished thus far, even though we may not be where we want to be yet.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we focus so much on where we're going. What's next?
Not the present moment.
What's present. We don't even take the time to celebrate where we've gotten to thus far.
So true.
So celebrate ourselves in the moment. Like,
yeah.
I think that's important.
That's so important in that present moment, because it was something that I heard recently. It's like the future never comes. It's always the present moment that we're in.
And the future is never promised. So you're working. I had this conversation with one of my girlfriends, and I said, you know, work on your goals, work on your dreams, focus on you, because when the life is out of you and you're under the ground or whatever higher power you believe in, that's it, right? And I say, I think about the cemetery and think about when you go to a cemetery and you bury someone, think about how many goals and dreams and ideas that we're walking over top of that never got a chance to see the light of day. That's deep when you think about that, right?
Yeah.
When you go to the cemetery.
They were buried with their dreams.
They were buried with their dreams. Think about when you go there, how many dreams and goals and inventions and ideas that we could be using today that we'll never get a chance to see because somebody was too tired or didn't have time or had to focus on someone else. Do not let that be your story. That's really, really important to me. So that's why I push the narrative of just focus on you, focus on what you got to, focus on what you want to, what you got going on. But like really, really take the time to like put the work in. Don't put the work in, and everything's not for social media. Everything doesn't have to be a social, content moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need those moments to yourself. Everything's not content. I mean, everything is not content.
Yeah.
So that's important. But I really think about that when things happen. Like people die every day. God, somebody just passed away, yesterday. Somebody that we don't know. But what I'm saying is people die every day. Just like someone's born every day, someone dies every day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are dying with their dreams because they're in survival mode.
We talked
people
about that
are
so
dying
much.
with their dreams because they're in survival mode.
How do you get out of survival mode? Like, what is a tip that you would say to women of getting out of survival mode? One, recognizing when you're in survival mode.
Recognizing when you're in survival mode. But I think the biggest thing for getting out of survival mode is finding something that you love to do and lock in. And figure out how you can make this passion a paycheck.
So when you say lock in, it's just like, don't look around, don't look
block out the outside noise. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. And find someone in that space that because a lot of times we want to reinvent the wheel, right? Find someone that you look up to and only follows people on social media that are in that niche. So that way, whatever you're seeing is reflective of what you want to be. And you could pull different things from different people. So if you want to be, the best, truck driver in the world, that should be the only thing that's on your feed. You could have other things, you're going to have the blogs and things like that. But whatever, it's like if you see it, you can do it. Because if they did it, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's obtainable. If you see it on a regular basis, you know that it's obtainable.
A way to practice that visualization.
Visually, exactly. And I think a lot of times, a lot of those people come from survival mode. A lot of us have the same story. A lot of us come from similar backgrounds. I think the biggest thing is locking in. And when I say lock in, I mean block out the outside noise. And sometimes keep that good news to yourself. You don't have to tell everybody your business. Don't tell everybody what you're working on. Because a lot of times you put the good information out there thinking you're venting to a friend when you're venting to a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Okay, and that brings me to another point. Friends. And
everybody ain't your friend.
You're speaking about support systems and having that good support system. Are most of your support system people that you've known for forever, or have you developed new friends along the way? And how did you determine or discern that they're really who they say they are.
So for me, I still have a lot of my childhood friends that I'm very, very close with. A lot of my really close friends that like my best friends are friends that I met in college.
Okay.
Literally, my college friends are like some of my, and it's so cheesy and cliche. They say you meet your lifelong friends in college, but you really do. Like, I literally have friends that I've had for 15, 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so long. I can't believe I'm in college. But friends that I've never fallen out with, friends that we motivate each other, friends that it's like, all right, girl, look, it's Monday. What's your goals for the week? And I do this on a regular. And then I have friends that I've met in the last 4 or 5 years that I know that are lifelong friends. Like, my girlfriend Taja is my girlfriend that I met in college. My girlfriend Krista I met in college. My friend Corey is somebody I met recently, but that's like my brother. My sister Danica, who's my soror, but she's also my sister, lifelong friends.
Yeah.
So I really think the biggest thing is surrounding yourself around friends that are also like-minded. Because even if I had a friend from childhood friends, I'm not the same Rashae that I was when I was 12.
Yeah.
That I was even when I was 18. So some friends I had in college, I might not have those same college friends, but a lot of them I do.
Because you guys are on the same page. You're headed in the same direction.
You have to. And I think the biggest thing is don't be afraid to tell your friend, like, you're doing it. I'm proud of you. Like, it's okay to let somebody else, like, shine.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with people feeling like you can't pat your friend on the back. You can't share a resource. You can't share a contact.
That ain't a friend.
Excuse me. I'm going to be very vulnerable. That shit is weird to me.
Very.
It's very weird.
But that feels like that's not a friend when they can't do that.
But people get weird. It's like, you my friend, but it's conditional.
Okay.
It's like, you my friend until I feel like you have the potential to be bigger or better than me, which I don't understand why that's a thing, because I laugh with my friends all the time. Like, listen, I don't know who gonna make these multi-millions first, but figure it out.
Whoever
because you gonna charter the jet this week and I'm gonna charter it next week. But I don't want to be the only rich friend.
Yeah.
Because I got a daughter and she need a trust fund. So I can't be chartering these planes. We got to figure it out. It's like, all right, sis, this week it's on you. Next week it's on you. And I love that.
Yeah.
And for me, anyone who really knows me knows that I am a resource person. If I have a resource that I can share and I think is beneficial, like when we came in here, my friend Corey came with me.
Yeah.
Organic.
Yeah.
Oh, you create content? Oh, X, Y, and Z. I think y'all need to connect. And I feel like if more people did that organically and not transactionally,
Yeah.
we would be in a better space, because most people operate on the forms of transaction. I'll do this for you, basically saying later on down the line, I know who she's connected with or what she could do. Maybe she would do it for me. That's not organic. I don't want you to do nothing for me.
Yeah. If it happens, it happens.
If it happens, it happens. But being more organic and less transactional.
Yeah. No, I like that. Now you were speaking about your 4-year-old daughter.
Oh
and
my God, she's a mess.
She's a mess? Is she anything like you growing up? Like
She
how you were?
and it's scary.
Really?
I'm scared.
But you were a boss as a little girl. You were in every
Speaking
class.
of a boss, literally, speaking of a boss, so my daughter just turned 4 October 18th.
Oh, she's a Libra.
She's a Libra.
Libra?
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay, okay.
She got a little Scorpio in her because she's like close to the end.
Okay.
But she turned 4, and for her birthday, I launched her magazine. So she has a magazine,
Nice.
Fluffy Fro Kids.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, and it's really a magazine to highlight Black and brown kids. I feel like, journalism and print and all that. It's so many different magazines for like adults, but nothing for like Black children.
Yeah.
So in Fluffy Fro, we'll highlight like little girls and Black entrepreneurs. Like we just did, her issue is the fall issue. So it had like fall fun activities, like unicorn hot chocolate. She was the cover, of course, because she's the first edition. But every month we'll highlight a child. But it's Fluffy Fro Kids because in June, she has Fluffy Fro Kids Hair Care, which is her own hair care line that's launching.
I love it. Does she do content?
She doesn't do content, not yet. I'm kind of like iffy about putting her on social media.
Got it.
But then for her birthday, I brought her 3 investment properties for her birthday.
Wow.
So she has 3 investment properties. Yes, I brought them for her birthday.
That's crazy.
Yes.
So what has been like the biggest change in you being a mom?
Oh my God.
And how that affects like your day to day and what you want to show her and how you want to, show up for her.
I feel like as a woman, I've always been like different. I've always had like a drive about me that it's like some things you can teach and some things you can't as a person. I've been behind the scenes for a very long time, but I know that 2024 and beyond, like God is like, your voice, your story.
Get out in the front.
So many people need to see it. So many people need to hear it. And when I do things like this, the feedback is, it makes me so emotional because it's like, it's so many people that are going through what we go through. And as a mom, oh girl, I'm trying to cry, child.
No, it's okay.
As a mom, it's so hard because you have a little girl that is looking up to you. And we're in a generation where things are so, ooh, child. Like everything is so, how could I say it? I don't want to say no specific songs, but it's like,
No, yeah.
it's trashy. You know what I mean? It's like,
It
this
is.
is, we're promoting this to young girls.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is okay? Because
Yeah.
I don't want my daughter to talk about her stuff, how
Yeah.
good it is, how good it smells, how good it tastes.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And especially as a child, it's different if you're a grown woman singing and talking about that. But the kids,
Yeah.
kindergarten,
They see it all. They
middle
hear it all.
school, I'll be in jail.
Yeah.
Because it's not okay.
Yeah.
But I think as a mother, the biggest thing for me is no matter how tired I am, always showing up and just, I feel like that this, I always had like this thing about me about like the will to succeed. But when you have a child, especially a little girl, it's my duty to show her as a woman how you should and how you are going to carry yourself. No
Yeah.
matter what the outside world looks like,
Yeah.
this is how you are going to carry yourself. I
Yeah.
don't care what someone else accepts. I don't care what anyone else thinks is the norm. This is how you are going to carry yourself as a woman. And I understand that now. I just talked about my grandmom as an adult, and I have to instill those same things in my daughter. So just the drive is just, it's a different drive because, you know, when it's just you can not say that failure is an option, but when it's just you and no one is relying on you, you can like chill a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't gotta cook for me. I could order
Yeah.
DoorDash or Instacart, or I don't gotta worry about cooking breakfast or doing. When you have a child,
Yeah.
it's a whole different drive.
It's a whole different
That's
thing.
it.
And I love that because there's two parts to that. The drive is important, showing her how to show up for herself and how she wants to show up in life, but also the fact that you are taking some time to yourself.
Literally.
Showing her that, showing
Literally.
her that that's just as important, because I feel like as a children, I know me growing up, I didn't listen to what my mom said. I just watched her. I watched what she was doing, and that's what really impacted me the most, what she
love
was
that.
doing, not necessarily what she was saying. And so you're showing her how to go out there and get it and be ambitious and be of service to so many people. And then you're also showing her when mommy needs to lay down and saying that's okay as well.
You just brought something to me too when we talked about the doing and the saying. So for me, before my daughter goes to sleep every night, we do affirmations every night. She does 4 affirmations with me. I'm pretty, I'm loved, I'm smart, I'm kind. Every night before we go to bed. And she's like, Mommy, I love you. And we do our affirmations. But I think it's important for me because as an adult and as a child, you know that your parents love you, right? Or you assume that
You
your
assume
parents
that
love
they-
you.
yeah.
You assume because you're my mom. Like, so I'm assuming that my mom loves me
Yeah.
because she's my mom. But how many times has your mom physically told you, I love you?
Yeah.
You are beautiful.
Yeah.
You are smart.
It goes
You
a
are
long way.
kind. I know for me, I didn't really, my grandmother raised me, but I didn't really hear that. I knew my grandma loved me, but a
Yeah.
lot of people, everybody loves differently. Some parents love through things, right? So if
Yeah.
you have a parent that's can't really be there, they might buy their kids a lot of different
Yeah.
things. Or, you know, some people are huggers or emotional. I am very, very emotional with my daughter. I love on her. I
love
kiss
that.
on her. I let her know, girl, you are beautiful. You are smart. You can do whatever you want to do. And I think she needs to hear that from me so that way she's not looking for it from anywhere else. You're
Yeah.
getting it at home.
Yeah.
So I don't care what anybody else tells me. My mom says I'm beautiful. My mom says I'm loved. My mom says I'm smart.
She knows
My
it
mom
from the
tells me to
start.
be kind to people no matter how they treat me. And if I can do that to her,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter what the outside world is putting out. That's
Yeah.
my job as her mother to instill those things in her. So that's important to me as well.
And I love that you're affectionate with her
Oh my God,
and
I'm so
huggy and
affectionate.
kissy and all that stuff.
I love
I
that.
was listening to a psychiatrist that I listen to often, and he was just speaking about love being love being a nutrient. And it's actually a nutrient, it's a more important nutrient than the food that we get. How many children can survive with just very little material things, food, but if they have love, if they have those hugs, if they have that body-to-body contact, those kisses, that interaction, that's the biggest nutrient.
And think about how many men and women are going to watch this podcast and watch this episode, and they're going to be like, damn, like, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
How many people can, like, I see it so much. Like, we know that our parents love us, but, like, did they verbalize that to us?
Yeah.
Like, I think hearing it is more important than assuming.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very, very important. And it goes to the notion of, even when we raise little boys, right? We raise little boys, like a lot of people come from single parent households, right? So we're raising little boys. We're teaching young men at a young age not to be affectionate. And then we wonder why they become boyfriends or husbands or whatever, and they can't show that emotion to their spouse or to their partner, to their woman, because we cut that off at a very young age. It's like little girls, we teach them at a very young age to be domesticated. We're buying them easy bake ovens. We're buying them little toys and kitchens, right?
Yeah.
So they're nurturing babies, they're cooking, right? We're teaching little boys, football and basketball. But the moment something happens with him and he starts crying, it's fix your face.
Yeah.
What you crying for? Why? Fix your face. We ain't crying. I ain't raising no sissy. Da-da-da. So we're teaching him that when something is wrong or he's hurt or something happened, that he can't show his emotion. So then when he becomes a grown man and something happens to him and he can't show his emotion, then we're wondering why.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All of that starts as a child.
It does.
It's so deep. And a lot of the things and a lot of the root causes of things in our culture are things that systemically we create for ourselves. And we don't even realize it. And we normalize it.
Yeah.
But it's not normal, but we normalize it.
It's not normal. So many things that are happening right now are not normal. They are insane.
It's crazy.
And we're just having a cocktail and we're just moving on about our day. And we're not like,
I mean, people are
doing
getting
the work.
shot, people are dying every day, and it's like, oh, it's sad.
We're becoming numb,
we're very, like, it's like a war. We're
Yeah.
literally desensitized ourselves to things that are in some countries or even some states never happen.
And I think so what you're doing is, there is so much going on, but to me it looks like what you're doing is you're doing your part in putting out positivity.
Absolutely. And that's all we can do.
Being of service. And I just wanted to touch on your fund. It's a powerful thing that you're doing. And as a Black woman, it's incredible. And I know it comes with so much, so many challenges, like to even be in that space.
Oh my God, girl, I'm going to cry. I'm trying not to cry.
No, I mean, because it's like, girl, wow, like how do you do it? How are you doing it? How do you push through when I know that you are breaking down walls to make this happen?
So recently I was invited to a C-suite event. So, a lot of people, if you don't know what C-suite means, it's high-level executives at companies. C-suite is like the highest level that they can be. You have executives. And, I got invited to an event in New York, and 20 women. And it was through a company called Albright. Albright is amazing. UK-based. They're based in UK and New York. And 20 people, only 2 brown people at the table. And it was amazing. I mean, the platform was amazing. But the more and more I elevate in this space, I got emotional because I feel like that as hard as it is to try to raise capital and to try to, push the envelope for people that look like you and me to have capital and funding for our businesses, it was just an idea. So that's why I tell people, whatever you think you can't do, you can do. National Black Funding Day was an idea. National Black Funding Day has been recognized by Afrotech, by Essence, by Black Enterprise, by CNN, by MSNBC, by so many different platforms. Robert Smith endorsed National Black Funding Day. Robert Smith is one of the only Black billionaires in the country.
Is he with Sundown?
Is
that not
so him? Richard Lou Dennis was with
okay.
I believe, but Robert Smith, his is I think it's I forget the firm that he has, but it's one of the largest firms, and he's a Black billionaire. and he endorsed National Black Funding Day, and that's huge. My girlfriend Tiffany works at Amazon. She single-handedly created the Black Business Accelerator program for Amazon. So she got Amazon to fund $150 million over a 5-year period to Black businesses through the accelerator program.
Wow.
Now she's with Amazon AWS, and she also has her own business called Black and Ecom, where she focuses on Black businesses in the ecom space. My girlfriend Nicole works at JP Morgan Chase. She's been there forever. She started off as a trader on Wall Street, and she works with their Black Pathways program, which is amazing. And she's amazing as well. So I'm connected by so many amazing people, but it just makes me emotional because I know that the work is hard.
Yeah.
And the work is tireless, but we just got to keep going.
Just keep going. God keeps you going.
Just keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to tap in a little bit into your public relations work.
Sure.
I know that I saw another podcast, I think, that you were speaking on, and you were speaking about PR and public relations and kind of just there's a lot of people running around here saying that they're a publicist, and to the point where
you better fact check them folks. I'm telling you.
So that's one of the questions that I had was, I have a couple questions on this, but even my one of my partners has gotten to the point, being in the business for 20 years, he's gotten to the point where he's like, we don't need a publicist. We don't need a publicist, because he's had so many experiences where people just take the retainer and they don't have the connections, they don't do the work, and it just left a bad taste in his mouth. But I see you out here absolutely doing the work. And have you experienced that when people are questioning what you actually do based on?
Because I'm always the cleanup person, so they always come to me after they get scammed.
Okay. So so that is a thing.
It's a thing. And then don't look at what people post. Where am I looking?
Yes.
Don't look at what people are posting on social media. Validate the facts. People, I'm telling you, it look good until you get into it. And it's like, I done paid this man, I done paid this girl how much? And I can't even get on Tubalusa News. It's like what is going on? So it's like you gotta do your due diligence and do your research, and then understand also that public relations, I will say this, public relations is a process because it is a brand building tool.
Okay.
So, I've had clients that I've had for 4 or 5 years, and at the beginning, we weren't able to do the things that we're able to do now.
Yeah.
But it takes time. But I said this before, just because it takes time doesn't mean nothing should be happening.
Yes.
Something should be happening.
Yes.
Updates should be given. The envelope should be continued to be pushed. Now, in your first month or your first 2 months, you might just get your media kit updated. You might get content. You might get updated photos. Because all of those things are admin things that I need so I can pitch you properly.
Got it.
So the first month, we might not do a partnership with Snapchat. We might not do a partnership with Nike. But if we have our ducks in a row, if the content is correct, if the photos are there, we have a good deck, and you have a good story. Because that's another thing too. People feel entitled because they make a certain amount of money, and they feel like, oh, I made $100 million or I made $60 million. Why am I not on Forbes, or why am I not on the Sherry Shepherd Show? We don't care about that. It's not about the money. Public relations is about a story. What is your story? How is your story going to resonate with people? What is the why? The why can't just be that you made a lot of money. So a lot of people out here making money.
Yeah.
So what separates you from them?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. So I think the biggest thing is, and I said this earlier at the event that I was being honored at, is not only vetting people out, but do your due diligence and understand that research is everything. I told you I'm a research-based person.
Yeah.
Would you go to a doctor's office without that doctor going to medical school? Would you lay and let somebody put anesthesia in your body and lay down and go get your tummy tuck, your BBA? Well, some of y'all, they might do that because they be going on. Let me use a different example. Would you go, would you allow someone to, operate or do whatever without having practical experience in that field?
Yeah.
My master's degree is in media relations and public relations.
Oh, wow.
So, this is not, I'm not an Instagram publicist. I'm not an Atlanta publicist. I'm not I got you one article publicist. It takes time. So then that is a con though, because sometimes when people deal with those publicists and they come to me and they're like, well, what is taking so long? Or what's the process? I'm like, sis, We got work to do.
Got work to do.
And I don't want you to be on the low-hanging fruit. I don't want to just get you on hotnews.com to say that I got you something. I don't want to give you busy work.
Yeah.
I want you to feel happy, and I want you to know that you're getting your money's worth from the things that we're doing. And a lot of times people don't understand too in public relations, sometimes you got to pay to play. Mm-hmm. You got to pay to play. You have to have a public relations budget. You have to have a marketing budget. You have to have an event budget. Mm-hmm. You have to have a graphic budget. You have to have a budget for these things because, okay, boom. Okay, we got to get your photos done. Okay, now you want to be on a magazine cover. I pitch you, there's a magazine interested. We're on the magazine cover. Now we got to do a magazine release. Mm-hmm. Now we do a magazine release. We got to do a rollout for that release.
Because it's an accumulation of all these things.
And all these things cost money.
Got it. So what would be a red flag if you could tell someone what is a red flag to look out for when someone's trying to be your publicist, and what
looking at this camera again?
Yeah, you can look at me. Okay. And what is a tip to what's a tip to find the right kind of publicist?
Okay. So I think the biggest thing is don't look for the person who is the most popular. Okay. Because a lot of times people look for publicists who are popular, and a lot of them are popular and poor. Have no desire to be popular and poor, right? So just because they're popular doesn't mean that their work is good, right? When someone refers to themselves as a PR, I automatically know you don't know what you're doing. Because PR is a service that is rendered by a publicist.
Got it.
You cannot be a PR. You cannot be a public relation. How are you a public relation?
Yeah.
Like how? That's like you being a marketing. I'm a marketing.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So when somebody refers to themselves as a PR, that is the major stop on. No, the plane cannot take off.
Yeah.
That does not make sense. You cannot be a PR.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is looking for a publicist that is specific in the niche that you are looking in, because you have beauty publicists, you have entertainment publicists, you have, like, for me, I've had experience in like entertainment, beauty, food. So like I have a lot of relationships. Another thing is look at the publicists that you want to work with. Look at the relationships that they have.
Yes.
Because everything is about relationships.
Got it.
If they don't have the relationships in the field that you want to work in, that might not particularly be the person for you, even though they may look good on social media. So just do your due diligence and do your research before you start spending your money, because a lot of times I see people waste so much money that they can't get back, and now they're asking publicists for retainers, and the publicists ain't answering, and then they calling me, and I'm like, I can't. What you want me to do?
Yeah.
So just do your research. Really do your research.
Yeah, and know what to look out for. Those kind of things. I saw. I don't know if this was a quote that you said. If you put it on your page, it says, everybody will play with you until you show them you're not someone to be played with. Mm-hmm. And that rings true. Do you think that is that like someone taking your kindness for weakness type of statement, or where'd that come from?
I feel like that can be in anything. I feel like that could be with friendships, relationships, or business, because I feel like when you are the person who's always lending the hand, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we over-distribute or we over-lend our hand. I talked about this earlier. And when people feel like they can take advantage of you, they will. So that kind of...
even if that person is a good person, is it human nature to still just take...
But you know when something is not organic, or you know when someone is trying to get over on you. You can kind of tell.
You can feel
it's like I ain't speak to you in 6 months. You like 30 pictures, and then you calling me because you need product for an event. It's like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah,
you're gonna follow suit and follow through like everybody else. But I'm a very good. Remember Miss Cleo?
Yes,
baby, call me now.
Are you a psychic?
Baby, I read people very well.
Okay.
So even though I may not say something about it initially, I read people very well, and it never fails. The way that I read a person, the way that I think about that, it always turns out to be that.
Yeah,
always.
Wow. So you're really in touch with your intuition.
My intuition is everything. It is everything. Body language, just when somebody organically want to connect with you, and when it's based off of who you know or what you could do for them.
Okay. I'm a challenge that, because what about when people have not listened to their intuition enough, that their intuition is not strong? They don't even trust their own intuition. They're the type of people that give you the benefit of the doubt over and over again. Maybe they have a little desperation to have a friend or to be a part of something. What would you say to those people that
That's a red flag. Because why are you so desperate for a friend? Like, why
it's
you
a
don't
red
have
flag within yourself?
within yourself and with them? Why you don't have no friends? Not one friend? You just desperate to just be out here with everybody.
So that goes
people
back to
who circle hop, people who just you see this person, and every week they with a different group of people. That's a red flag. You can't find not one group of people to stick with, not one. That is a red flag. Like one week you with Jenny and them, next week you with Marsha, the next week it's like it gotta make sense. And I get in this industry, you have to network, but like, don't be so accessible that people don't take you serious. Accessibility is everything. I limit myself to the things that I go to the things that I'm seen at, because I don't want to be the person that's easily accessible to everything. People get so comfortable. Yeah, because that was my thing. When you're easily accessible, people feel like you are easily obtainable to them or easily accessible to them. So just because you out 30 times, that don't mean I'm here for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have to limit things and make sure as your brand is elevating and as your brand is growing, you have to understand that you are a reflection of your brand. So when you're out everywhere and everyone sees you and you're out at things that don't necessarily align with what you want to heighten yourself to, it brings you down. It brings your value down. It brings your stock down. It's like an athlete. You know, if he gets hurt, his stock is gonna come down. Like you might have been the number 1 draft pick, and then something happens to you, and now you went from number 1 to number 15 because of your stock going down because you hurt yourself. Don't let your stock go down because you are easily accessible to everybody.
And people start thinking that y'all are similar.
And
we're not the same.
Baby, we're not.
We're not the same. No, that's real. I want to ask one question before we close, and I want to do this deck of affirmations, because you talk about affirmations. I just want us to pick a card.
I love that.
But I have a question. This is like a question for you, because I'm hearing you speak with such authority. How do you feel about when you have to tell somebody about themselves in business that you're working with? And like you said, representing your brand. So my brand, I want to make sure that no one can say that I, went low or, that kind of thing, but having to still make it known that there's an issue. This was not okay. I don't accept that. Like, how do you go about that?
I'm very direct.
Just very direct.
Very direct. I think when you beat around the bush, it gives people the room for interpretation, and then they're interpreting their own version of what you think is wrong. Just if you just say, hey, look, I don't think I don't like how you handled that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's a professional way to do it. You don't have to be nasty about how you handle things, but in the world of business, sometimes we have to do things and say things that may be uncomfortable. Yeah. Whether it's with our team, whether it's with the network, whether it's with someone we're working with, but you have to be direct, because if you're not, that's another reason why people think they can play with you. Yeah. So I didn't like this. In our contract, it says I'm supposed to have boom, 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 but I get here and I only got this. Yeah. So until that's right, she's not going on stage, or we're not coming out, or we're not doing this because you're half-assing and then you want us to fully provide results. No, we're not doing that. You have to be stern. And I think as a woman, we have to even more be direct on what we want and what we ask for. Don't beat around the bush. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And when you do that, it gives people the opportunity to be like, oh, I can't really mess with her,
because it's coming straight at you.
It's straight at you, and they know that they can't play with you, because it's like, we know we can't. They might try you, but if you're direct in what you mean and you mean what you say, then I think there's no room for interpretation. Don't leave any room for error.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. Let's get into these cards. Hold on really quick.
We got cards.
Okay, so yeah, you can read.
Oh my God. Okay. So my card says, what is something that you've done to overcome self-doubt or insecurity?
Wow.
That's big, right?
We both gonna answer it. You want me to answer it first, or you gonna answer it first?
I can answer it first.
Okay.
So something that I've done personally to overcome self-doubt and insecurity is constantly reinventing myself. Meaning, like, if I'm doing something and I feel like I'm not doing it as good as I know I can, just changing something about it or trying to pivot in that space. I'll be very honest. I'm not very insecure.
Okay, period.
I'm just, and I say that to say I'm not very insecure in the sense of like, I'm not insecure because I know that if it's anything that I want to do or obtain, I know that I can. So I have the confidence in myself to say, girl, you can do it. You can push through. You can do it. Like, so for me, I'm not very insecure, but I think we all have self-doubt when it comes to certain things. And when I say self-doubt, meaning like, is this goal too big? Like, is this, like when we talk about Wealthtopia, like that is scary because I know in my head what I envision it to be, but it's like, is that going to happen?
I see it.
How is it going to happen? So I overcome those things by constantly telling myself like, girl, you're going to do this. I visualize it. I see people standing in line. I see people getting their logos done.
Wow.
I see people getting their headshots for their businesses. I see people walking away crying. I see people sending us DMs and messages talking about how we changed their lives. So for me, those things help me overcome anything that I feel like I can obtain because I see the vision plain and clear.
So you're replacing any thoughts of self-doubt with the vision of the goal.
With the goal.
Happening and
Absolutely.
being successful. I love that. Read it again for me so I can know.
What is something that you've done to overcome self-doubt or insecurity?
I think one of the main things, and mine is pretty simple, is that I just didn't stop. I just don't stop. I think that pushing through, when you have the thoughts, the self-doubt, the intimidation, the imposter syndrome, what I taught myself is just don't stop. Don't let that paralyze you. If it's just one day of research, maybe that's all that you're doing that day. That's enough.
I love
and
that.
Then that takes me to the next day. And then somehow subconsciously or energetically, I feel I've empowered myself because I didn't stop. And the next day I have a little bit more information, a little more knowledge. So it kind of just like subtly gives me a little bit more, confidence.
And also I want to leave off with that note. One of my favorite books is by Stephen Covey. It's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of his habits, it resonated me when we were talking about something that we've done to overcome self-doubt or insecurity. One of the 7 habits is begin with the end in mind. So if you begin with the end in mind, you already know what your end goal is. You know your why. So if you know your why, it doesn't matter what insecurities or self-doubts or trials or tribulations come your way. You know constantly every day why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's big. If you know your why, then it doesn't matter what type of insecurities or self-doubt that may come your way because you know what goal that you're set out to achieve.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to tell the people where they can find you, anything that you want to leave them with, where they can find you on social media, website, things coming up. And yeah.
So I'm on Instagram. So my Instagram is Ms. Media_Queen. So MZ Media_Queen. You can follow Evals Equity as well on Instagram, Evals, EVALS Equity. And then evalsequity.com, www.evalsequity.com. And I didn't even tell you really quick before we leave, Evals Equity, my women fund, our slogan is where opposition meets opportunity. But Eval spelled backwards spells slave.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so Eval spelled backwards is spelled slave. And as a slave, that's because you were always faced with opposition and you never had any opportunity.
Wow.
So that's where the name Evals Equity came from. Wow. So evalsequity.com, Ms. Media on Instagram, Wealthtopia 2024 coming up in September. Yeah. And just stay tuned for everything that we have. We have so many major projects and things that we're working on. I'm just so blessed. And I just want to leave everyone that watch this episode, watch this, tune in, continue to check in with these episodes. My girl over here is killing it.
Oh, thank you.
But if you have an idea, if you have a goal, if you have a dream, block out the outside noise, begin with the end in mind, and know that the only person who is stopping you from achieving anything that you want to do is yourself, and that you can do it.
Amen.
There it is.
Amen. Thank you guys for joining us again. We'll see you next time.